Happy Halloween, guys.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween.
Nobody's dressed up except me.
I am the scariest thing you can think of. I'm an AI representation of me.
Oh, that is scary.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ben Franklin.
There you go.
So how's everybody doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
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 It was fun today. All the kids and most of the teachers dressed up for Halloween at the school.
And what were you?
I put on a suit and tie, and for the students, I was Bond, James Bond, number 7, licensed to kill, so don't get out of hand in my class. But for the older teachers who would get it, I was Maxwell Smart, Agent 86 of Control.
Wow.
Thank
Man,
you.
you really,
Hi, Doc.
hey, Doc, you really reached in for that.
Craig? G'day, my man.
You work with people old enough to remember that, Scott?
So, what?
You work with people old enough to remember that part?
Half the teachers didn't remember it. Half the teachers didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Tony K is here.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Tony, happy Halloween.
Tony, Craig, Doc, how's it going?
And Craig.
So, the big question is, how do y'all want to do tonight? So, we've got 4 movies, but it's remakes and the classic, or I should say cult classics that inspired the remake.
Why don't we just jump right in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you want to jump into the newer ones and then go back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that.
All right. How about let's jump into The Crow? How about that?
All right.
Okay.
Well, before we get started, I know Scott's going to talk about it, but I have to say The Crow is one of my favorite movies.
Which
So,
one?
The original.
Yeah.
So,
I like it as well. I think it was done very well. I felt terrible for Brandon Lee, of course, but the movie was an excellent movie, really well done, super dark and that kind of thing. Wasn't my favorite movie of all time. I did really enjoy it. I think everybody should have seen it by now, so we can probably spoiler it right up.
Yeah.
But I'll let you guys jump into it too. Scott, what did you think of The Crow?
You know, I saw it about 10 years ago, and I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the new Crow, and then I rewatched this one, and it is a fantastic movie. It's a revenge flick, but it was just it was dark in an artistic way.
Yeah.
You know, just the whole setting, everything about it. The reason that him and his fiance get killed, the way he goes about seeking revenge. I loved the movie. I'm glad we had to watch it again. I thought it was brilliantly done. And like I said, it's a very dark movie, much darker than the remake. But yeah, I can see why it's a cult classic now. I'll definitely watch it again.
It's a perfect 90s movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's got all the 90s stuff in it, you know. And so the first time I saw The Crow, I really didn't like it. I thought, man, I'm like you, Scott. I was like, and I rewatched it, I don't know, 6 months ago. And I really enjoyed it. It's just a dark, movie. It's got the bad guys, the 90s bad guy. Oh, hell, they could be late 80s bad guys, too. It could have been the bad guys from Die Hard, And you got Ernie Hudson. Always great seeing him in something. They lacked that total character in the remake. But anyway, I digress. The Crow is a classic. We all, Randy, he watches that every Halloween Eve, because that's when the story takes place. Was the Devil's Night. Great flick. If you've never seen The Crow, which I'm sure there's no one in this crowd that hasn't, you need to watch it. That's my 2 cents.
So we all like The Crow. And what are we going to rate The Crow?
Well, no, we're not. We're talking about this. We're going to talk way more about this guy.
Oh, okay.
So,
Talk about it.
oh, I'm fired up about it because The Crow is a classic. I mean, it's based off a comic book, and when you're watching the movie, you can see the comic book pages because it's so close to what the comic was about.
I didn't know it was a comic book, huh?
Yeah, by Jim O'Barr, I
and
think.
it's a perfect. I mean, the '94 original classic called The Gothic Tragedy and Revenge that was in the comic book, but the comic book writer was inspired by the music of that genre. And the music that I think it was Kill Cult and The Cure, all of that was a huge part of his writing process and creating The Crow. So the soundtrack to the movie tells a story as well as sets a tone. So you have this dark. I mean, the movie starts off with the death of this couple. That their love is so strong that he comes back from the dead to wreak, like an avenging angel, to kill the people who have murdered his bride to be, his fiance. I don't know what you want to call her, but then we spin over to the mockery of this classic with the 2024 remake, which from the pink sweatsuits to the emo. Sorry, I'm going to get wound up about this. The emo overtones of it lost everything that made The Crow the beautiful film that it was.
Yeah.
And I mean, and when you go back and forth, I mean, the 2024 had none of those classic bad guy characters. I mean, I rewatched the original the other day, and part of what made that movie so dark, it wasn't just the subject matter of what happened to this couple, but it was the pure evil conveyed by these character actors that played the posse that killed him.
Yeah.
They were bad dudes. You were scared of them. If they came knocking on your door, you wouldn't want to. They really captured the essence of evil.
Well, the film itself was dark. The cinematography as well. It was much darker in '94 than 2024. And honestly, I think this adaptation of The Crow, I didn't hate it like you guys did. What I think is, it's a 2024 movie. This is the movie. This is what The Crow would have been if the first Crow never came out, and it was just this. It's today's culture working against what we like, because it was just the way it was presented is exactly what you said, Hadley. It's this emo garbage that they just kind of vomited forth. And again, I know how I said it, but I didn't hate it. I didn't super dislike it. It's just I'll never watch it again.
No.
Well, I'll say this.
I'm
I
sorry.
love those Star.
Me too.
And the imagery in the 2024 at times was beautiful. It was poetic the way it was done, but I did not buy the love story at all. It was two junkies who met at rehab who were basically doing drugs together and then going out and partying at night. And they get messed up in some bad stuff and shit happens. And I did not see the eternal bond of love between them that in 5 seconds of screen time was captured in the 1994 version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the most I've heard you talk in a long time about a movie, Hadley.
I told you I was really looking forward to The Crow. and I was very disappointed. And I'll say this, and y'all know that there were like three, like there was like a part 2 and a part 3, but it was like always different characters. In the comic book, you could do that, and that's all they had to do. All they had to do was change the names and make this a different story, and it could have worked.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Yeah. And they totally wasted the bad guy. And like I said, they had no evil minions that were despicable. And
well, they wasted Danny Houston. He's such a good guy.
Wasted his time.
30 Days a Night, Yellowstone. I mean, they wasted him. His character was not bad. I mean, he just didn't really. What a waste. I felt like Skarsgård stepped out of Boy Kills World, right out of that movie, and made this one. I mean, it just, to me, I think you could have cut this movie down to the last 30 minutes, and you would have had a good movie.
Well,
I mean,
and that's the thing. In the 1994 version, it starts off with him being the Crow. He digs himself out of the grave,
right?
And he is an Avenger from day one. And we do not see that in the second film until well after the 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
And then he emos his being the Crow for a while. And then once he fully embraces that darkness of his role, it changes. But the whole bullshit, excuse my language. The whole tirade of him going off about, questioning his love for her, that would never have happened. That's against the whole premise of the story. It did not make sense.
Right.
How could someone who could question the love of their departed and be brought back from the dead lose that? I mean, that kind of power is just, I don't know. To me, the 2024 version lacked a lot of the supernatural elements and fantasy that makes these kind of stories, gripping. But I don't know. It probably lost me at the baby pink sweatpants. I don't know.
See, I agree with you, Hadley. It was a horrible remake. But if they had just changed a few things up and not called it The Crow, I think it would have been a better movie. Because I'm comparing it to The Crow, and I'm like, this version sucks. But I'm thinking to myself, if they had changed, like Halloween 3 would have been a great movie if they didn't call it Halloween 3 and keep Michael Myers out of it.
No, this one wouldn't have been good.
No, but
it was so boring. It was
boring. I agree. But if they had tried to do a different movie rather than do a direct remake of The Crow, I think it might have been better.
If you want to see Bill Skarsgård killing people, watch Boy Kills World.
Yeah, Boy Kills World. All right. And it's a lot more violent, believe it or not, than this. This was pretty violent, and Boy Kills World is way.
Well, the best part about this was the violence. I mean,
yes, agreed.
They had some really good gory parts, which I wouldn't have minded if they expanded upon. But again, it was just too little. It was too little, too late.
See, they should have done like that meandering serial killer movie we reviewed a couple of weeks ago. Just made a little video of all the kills, and that would have been awesome because the kills in this were awesome. I mean, that guy getting a sword through the back of his head and down his mouth, and then he's impaled with the swords and he's killing guys, with the sword that's impaled in him. That was great. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could get into the whole haunting, ghostly aspect of the 1994. Is it because of the tragedy of what happened with Brendan Lee? But I don't think so. I think that it was just. I think it was a part that he was perfect for. I've heard that there was talk at one time of like Jason Momoa stepping up to do a remake of The Crow, and that fell apart. But I think he could have done it. I think that if there was, he could have done a better job than Bill Skarsgård. But Bill Skarsgård in this movie fell flat. I mean, he's so much better than this.
Well, I think the directing on it was what killed it. Because, I mean, you know, Alan said it. You had Danny Houston and you wasted him. You had Bill Skarsgård and you wasted him. You know, I mean, it was a disappointment.
Well, Bill Skarsgård plays
film. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Hadley.
I'm sorry. Are we echoing?
Yeah, there was a bit of an echo.
Oh, maybe
Go
that's
ahead, Rich.
speakers.
Hello.
Go ahead. Say what you were going to say, Hadley.
I was just going to say, Bill Skarsgård plays darkness so well.
Yeah.
And once he starts playing that part, it really got good.
Mm.
But the emo, I mean, and Rich, I mean, you're calling it like it is, like it's today's movie. It's the difference between, I guess, Gen Xers and whatever that was. But I just really like the first one. I feel like on a scale of 1 to 5, that the first one is it's a perfection of a movie, even as gritty as it is. But every character in that movie has a place, from the little girl to the cat Gabriel. I didn't say it. Craig, he's my swear jar. But the policeman, who is that actor? He played in Ghostbusters.
Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, I mean, his role was pertinent to the story. And the little girl, Sarah had a definite, and the bad guy, and his sister, and her digging out people's eyeballs. I mean, every piece of this had a part into, and again, going back to the 2024, I felt like I was spoon-fed stuff that didn't necessarily need to be told. You know, it's like we had a guide to the afterlife with the whole purgatory spill, you know, but in the first one needed, you know, because it was part of the allure, was the mystery of it all.
And the bad guys in the first one were just horrendous. So you enjoyed the revenge kills so much more. You know, because when I rewatched this, it was like, you know, those flashback scenes of what they did to him and her in the apartment for just writing a letter was, you know, you started rooting for him, and the worst things that could happen to those people, the better. This one, it was just sort of like, it was like, okay, yeah, these guys are bad, and he's got a death wish against them, so.
Well, 2/3 of the kills were at the opera. 2/3 of the kills were just guards. They weren't even like the real bad guys.
Yeah.
And like you said, Alan, and you said, Scott, the best actors in this were wasted because, honestly, both of those roles, you know, the bad guy for Houston and the Crow for Skarsgård, they were made for these two actors, really.
Yeah.
And it was just that the direction and the actual writing of the film just kind of sucked. It was too bad, because had they not wasted those two characters, then this would have been a great film.
Well, like you said, this was made for these days, you know, but it still could have been made better.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and the original Crow is a Halloween movie. It's a straight up Halloween movie. Yeah. The setting, the eeriness, you know. Yeah, Brandon Lee's death was very tragic, but I don't think it plays. I mean, and there's a myth behind that movie, but I don't think it plays into the feel of that movie. You know, that movie.
What was it?
Great movies that way.
It was Halloween Eve, right?
Right.
Devil's Night, all the fires and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the original, and I don't remember the actor's name, but the bad guy, he was a brilliant bad guy in those days, because wasn't he the sheriff of Nottingham in one of the Robin Hood movies?
Oh, who was that? Who was
that? About Alan Rickman.
No, not the Rickman version, but there was he
was. No, he played one of the sheriff of Nottingham's men, right?
Yes.
He was
Yeah.
a vampire. So
But
yeah,
it was
he's a vampire.
was it Robin Hood or was it the Three Musketeers?
Three Musketeers. He
Yes.
played Rofer, or
Yeah,
what's
and
his name?
he was
Yeah.
such a dick in both movies. You
Yeah.
love to hate him.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of his name. He's not the. He's a martial artist, right? I believe he did a lot of B movie.
Oh, I
martial
don't
arts movies.
know.
I thought was he in one of the Karate Kids or something?
Was he? I think he. Shit, I think he might have been. I don't have my IMDb.
Who are we
I
talking
thought
about?
he
You
was
got
in
lost me.
Karate.
Who?
Are you talking about Top Dollar? Which guy are you talking about?
Yes.
Yes, the big boss.
What's his name?
His name is Michael Wincott.
Yes,
Yeah.
Michael Wynn.
Canada.
Yeah,
If that's who you're talking about.
that's who we're talking about.
Yeah, he was Rochefort in the Three Musketeers, Guy of Gisborne in Prince of Thieves.
Yes.
I mean, I love him. He's a phenomenal bad guy.
He plays a good bad guy.
Yes.
He does.
Thanks, Ash.
Yeah.
Well then.
He's got a great voice. He's just plays a really good bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did.
And was that Bang Lee? Was that who his sister was?
Say that again.
Bang Lee? Bing Lee?
Oh, what's her name?
Yeah.
Lee. Riley.
Yeah. Yeah. He plays a good sleazy character.
Yeah,
Well,
but I
just
think
the
Rich
whole
used high
time
end.
What'd you say, Heaven?
I said that the whole cast in this movie is good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And like we said, I'm reiterating, these guys are all wasted in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, they were just wasted. Skarsgård's a great, he's been in a lot of things that are just great. And he's playing a bad guy again. He's playing the clown again in Welcome to Derry, I think. I don't know if it's a series or a movie.
Is it going to be? It's a series though, right? Isn't that
Is
a
it a series?
Yeah, I think it is.
I don't know. Yeah.
I heard them talking about it.
Yeah. So no, this movie. Does anyone know how much the movie's made at all?
Let me find out. Let me see if I can find out.
Yeah, I would imagine it killed, and the reason for that is before anybody could figure out that it wasn't the best movie in the world, it's got Bill Skarsgård in it. It's a remake of The Crow, and when you think of that, you're like, damn, that's got to be a good flick because Bill Skarsgård, he's The Crow. It just works. He's got the same body type, the same personality to play it.
Okay, it made 50. The budget for this movie was $50 million. The gross U.S. Canada was 9.2, and worldwide it just barely made $24 million.
Oh no!
Yeah,
It got a lot of hate.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't great.
No.
It was meh.
Well, it's, and I think it's funny because Hollywood is trying to do huge remakes of movies and people can't stand them. Do you know what the biggest selling movie is right now, today? The Terrifier 3.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a non-rated movie by an indie company. It's smashing box office records. I think people are just sick and tired of trying to redo what was good.
Yeah. I mean, because this one is it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
I mean, well, in my opinion. And opinions. We say about opinions. I just did not enjoy this. Like I said, you could fast forward the first 90 minutes of this movie or whatever. The first 5 hours of this movie and go the last half hour of it. And you got your movie.
It's my water bottle with, I don't know why they put a sexy pantsless Ariel with a chainsaw on it, but To each his own.
To each his own. I'm not going to question.
Yeah.
No beers for me tonight. I quit drinking during the week.
Cool. I got root beer.
You don't drink. You don't drink though, right?
Not really. I don't drink that often at all. Yeah, but
He
I
takes the
don't-
whiskey pretty hard though.
I only drink at night when I'm going to bed, and that's only because I got so much going on up here. If I don't like sort of deaden it a little bit with a couple of shots of whiskey, I'm never going to get to sleep.
Well, I used to only drink at night and during the day.
Oh,
Those were
well,
the only 2 times.
Yeah.
So it was
so only at night during the day. So what?
So I needed to take it easy a little. So
Yeah.
I figured Monday to Friday. Well, Monday to Friday night. Friday night I'll have a couple beers. Saturday night I'll have a couple beers.
So I'm guessing overall that we all like the first one. What do y'all
Yeah.
give it?
The first one?
The first rating for the first one, 4.5. Fantastic.
I'll hop with you. 4.5.
I'm going to go 4.75. And I'm almost thinking I want to go 5, but 4.75. It is a classic. Like I said, when I first saw it, I didn't like it. When I rewatched it, I fell in love with the movie. So.
Okay.
Going with a solid 5 on this one, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine.
You worried there. It's a good flick.
Well, from the music score, this is one of I have 2 soundtracks that I think everybody should have. It's Queen of the Damned and The Crow.
Oh.
No.
So the music sets the tone. It's a large part. I like the comic book. I like the art. I like the actors. I like everything. Chef's Kiss. I give it 2 thumbs up.
Right on. And what do we give this remake? Kylie?
I will give it a 2.5 because it visually it was solid. Skarsgård, what he got going was good. It had good gore. It was just, I really blame the director. I think a lot of this movie is probably on the cutting room floor. I think we discussed a while back. But it's not even in the same ballpark as the first movie.
No.
Agreed.
I'm
Disappointment.
giving it a 2, and that's only because of Skarsgård and Danny Houston.
Bitch?
I'll give it a 2.5. Like I said, I didn't hate it as much as you guys did, but I will never watch it again.
No.
And it had unbelievable, unrealized potential, and that's what frustrates me. So it is what it is.
I'm going to give it a 1 because, like I said, you skip through the first 12 hours of it, and you do the last half hour, and you get the movie. They wasted everything on that movie.
Yeah, they did.
So, but if you haven't seen it and you're curious to see it and you don't want to take our advice, good luck.
I wouldn't bother, but I'm also not. I've seen a lot worse. I'm not going to give it any lower than that.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot worse the other day. What was that one? What was that one we watched, Scott? What was that one? Crack.
Raccoon?
Oh yeah.
Hey, I've got an even worse pick for when we do the worst movie this year. That makes Raccoon look like an Academy Award winner.
You're scaring me, Scott.
Yes.
Oh, that's terrifying.
I'm scared now. Well, I guess should we move on to Salem's Lot then?
I think we can.
Yeah. Salem's Lot. Let's go.
Salem's Lot.
That was me. My drum roll.
Oh,
I thought we were being attacked.
I thought something was happening. All right, so Rich, you want to start?
Sure. We can do the old one first. The original Salem's Lot, we'll call it a film. It actually came out as a miniseries. The first time I saw that, I was at home by myself as a kid, and there was a a storm out. My parents had gone to Ithaca, New York. I remember that distinctly. And my dad had work up there. And my brother, younger brother, he went to stay with my aunt, and I was home alone. And it was my first time I was home alone. I was very young. Things were different back then. We lost power.
Oh.
So there was a big storm. We lost power. And I had this little tiny television with a screen like this. And I had a battery-operated TV. I was the only person in the neighborhood with a battery. It cost like 8 cents, this ridiculous black and white battery-operated TV. And I got the thing out there, and I was like, I'll watch Salem's Lot. It's a Stephen King's movie. I mean, oh my God, holy shit. Ralphie friggin' Glick. That is one of the scariest scenes in the history of cinema, for a young kid. I have my kids watch it maybe 5 years ago, and they're like, this is lame. I'm like, oh, it still scares me now. I'm scratching on it.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, with that fog behind him. Come on, that was fantastic. And it was pretty novel. I mean, vampires, they were around, but this was a new thing. This was, you got to see stuff happen in the daytime, and you got to know the characters. The character development was excellent. And you David Soul, never one of my favorite actors, but he crushed this role. He did really well in this. He was the kind of guy that you knew was gonna help you if you needed it, even when there's crazy vampires running around. And James Mason, one of the best actors ever. He did okay in this. I still don't get the superhuman powers, but I guess that was blessed to him by the vampire. I don't know. But Barlow, all of the vampires, previously to that had been these, dark Christopher Lee looking Bela Lugosi guys. And then you have this guy that went straight back to Nosferatu with the 2 long fangs, but they were like in front instead of on the sides. Absolutely fantastic. The movie wasn't overly dark. It was okay. There were a couple of dark scenes, like whenever there were, of course, vampires, darkness. The fog is what really made it spooky, because they must have had these fog machines kicking on, and just every time there was a vampire, just the fog came in. Another scary scene is Mike, when he's going to the teacher's house. He's like, yeah, I feel sick, and the teacher takes him in, and then Mike dies, and he gets buried, and then he comes back, and look at me, teacher. Oh man, that was just terrifying. But the end-all, be-all, scariest part of that movie, it's like other than Ralphie Glick, it's like a 2-minute scene, and it's when they're going to destroy Barlow. They're going to kill him, and they open up this like basement, almost like a little cave, and David Soul's looking like this. He's looking back, and you can see the vampire start like pawing, coming toward them. Like, oh, it was just really well done. It was just terrifying. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Well, I should say, again, miniseries, because every time I saw it when I was a kid, it was a miniseries. Right. And of course, as a young kid, I was shitting myself watching this by myself, and I didn't sleep that night. So I absolutely love this movie, and I know you guys all like it too. But go ahead, throw it at me. What's your favorite part of it?
Oh, I like the very beginning when they're in Mexico and they're going to hunt vampires, and then it flashes back.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool. I mean, that's a good scene. It's nothing dramatic or anything, but it's like, wow, okay, this is gonna be cool, And I was a big fan of Starsky and Hutch. Love Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah.
So I was thrilled, and I liked him better than you, Rich, as an actor. So I was thrilled. Here comes Hutch. He's gonna save the day. Which he does with the help of what's that kid's name? With Lance Kerman.
Lance Kerman,
who was big back then. But yeah, this is a good flick. I mean, or series. I think now they condense it into a movie.
Yeah,
I think like a 3-hour some odd movie or something like that. But the character development was there. Yeah. You even had an old Elijah Cook Jr. from all those old Universal movies and stuff, playing the town drunk, spying on David Soul. It was good. Bonnie Bedelia from Die Hard series. It really, I mean, it shows its age. Definitely shows its age. But it's at the time it was great. I enjoyed. I watched it a little bit the other day, and I really enjoy it. Miniseries have advantage. on movies, they can do the character development, which I think is what the new one kind of lacks, a little bit of that. But no, I love the old one. I thought it was great, and the vampire in it was just outstanding. Nosferatu looking kind of thing, and that was great. Back then, oh my gosh. And you got the Stephen King small town thing, which he's so good at. And that happens. And, I love this miniseries movie.
And the thing about the miniseries is it's scary as hell, and it's made for TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as if they made this for the movies and then Rich saw it when it premiered on television. I mean, yeah, that scene with Danny Glick at the window is the one scene that stands out in my mind through the whole thing. That scene is just, it was new, it was unique, it was terrifying. Just the James Mason character was just so good on that one. They were all good. It was very well done. I don't know if anybody ever saw the second miniseries that was made. Yeah. I enjoyed that. It was nowhere near as good as the original, but I liked some of the parts that stuck more to the book. I thought were unique. But yeah, that's the first one is a classic. You'll never beat that. And this first remake and this one will prove that.
Yeah. Hallie?
So this is probably the first real horror movie I ever watched. It is still terrifying to this day. I turned it on the other night, and y'all probably heard me complain about the days getting darker earlier, and it freaks me out like at 8 o'clock. I think, oh my God, it's 20 o'clock at night. I need to go to bed. So it's dark. I turn it on. It's probably 6 o'clock. I had to turn it off because I was too scared. I was like, I can't sit here. I know where this is going, but I can't watch it by myself tonight. It's just one of those things. Classic. I remember reading the book. I checked it out of the library when I was a kid, and I was staying with my aunt one summer. And my mother would not read it, but my aunt didn't know better. It's terrifying. The movie's terrifying, and in comparison to the old one and the new one, I really enjoyed the new one, but it doesn't hold a candle to the terror. I mean, just the scariest part to me, of course, was the Mr. Barlow when he stands up and unfolds to his 7-foot tall vampire self. And he was a big blue vampire. Remember, it was just terrifying with the big teeth. Oh my God, just scary. But perfection in movie. This is what a horror movie should be like.
Well, what about the new one? You want to throw the new one out there, Scott?
It was 30 minutes of character development, boring character development, before you even got to see the first vampire. It was almost an hour into the movie before they started to get to the big vampire action. And I'm like, okay, now it's starting to get good. The cop abandoning the town because, the town is dead. I love that scene. And I loved, what is the actor's name who played Mark Petrie, Jordan Preston Carter. I loved him as just this, 12-year-old kid. He's a vampire hunter. He's the toughest of them all now. But for God's sake, how stupid can the vampires be? Where are we going to set up our big coffin area? At an outdoor drive-in theater where all he would have had to done is go in at noon and pop the trunks on all of them. It's like, no, stupidity. Who thought of that idea? Some of the action scenes were good. but I love the intense action at the end. But again, having it at a drive-in theater, the kid going through and knocking down the screen, so the sunlight hits them. Love that. Thought it was great. Again, why a drive-through theater? And even there was nothing scary about this. They built up to try to redo the Danny Glick scene at the window, and
Can't compare.
you can't compare. And it's not even like a jump. It's not like a real scary. It was no.
Okay.
Like at the beginning when they're walking through the woods, and the old guy comes up and steals them, and the brother doesn't even know. I mean, this movie.
Well, it happens all the time. People get nabbed in the woods all the time.
But not when you're 5 feet from your brother.
It happens.
So when the teacher's in the basement and he pulls on the light and Mr. Barlow is right behind him, that scared the crap out of me in the new one. I was like, holy shit. That was pretty much the only scene.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the scene. I know Hadley likes the scene too, when the vampires are all on the houses and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I think the best scene in the film is when Mark crawls up into the treehouse and all the kid vampires are in the tree and they're saying, "Let us in, Mark. Just let us in or come out to play." That was just great. That was really well done. They're two completely different movies. I know it's all the same stuff, and I know it was aimed and targeted at the same audience, but to me, they're two different movies. One was supposed to be super scary, and the other one was supposed to build on the scare that came from the first movie, and it just didn't hold up. It wasn't as good. But don't get me wrong, this is another movie that I'm kind of crapping on, but actually I like this movie, the new one. I mean, it's just not the same type of movie. But those scenes that I mentioned were pretty good, and like you said, Scott, the character development, they could have cut each one of those in half and saved a lot of time, and it would have been a significantly better movie. But I did like the actors that they chose, and I thought the vampires were pretty cool, and picking people up in the air and stuff like that, and dropping out of the air. And when the guy revoked his invitation, and
cool.
get sucked out, that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
I just had a good cast. It did. The acting's not bad in it. The acting's pretty good. You got Louis Pullman from Bad Times at Hotel Royale and Maverick Top Gun, Bill Pullman's son. You got Alfre Woodard, who used to be in everything, which is great to see her again. You even got the kid from Unbreakable. That movie with Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
He playing Mike. And the sheriff, I can't think of his name, but he was in
William Sadler.
William Sadler,
Die Hard.
Yeah. But it was like a bullet train, this movie. Everything was just streamlined. It was glossy, and it was like a studio-made vampire movie. It wasn't like, hey, I want to make a vampire movie. I love this stuff. It was made more like, let's do this, and that, and we can, it wasn't done with heart. There were some cool scenes. The scene I liked at the drive-in where, Louis Pullman's killed, Barlow, and I thought that was cool. He's standing there on the roof of the destroyed drive-in, screen and everything, and I thought that looked cool. But it just had no heart to it. It was almost like it had a little bit of Lost Boys with the kid, the kid's part, his part in it. He's a vampire hunter, and all that. He was nothing scared of that. He was scared, but not like you would think he would be, It was okay. It was entertaining. I wasn't really bored with it. It was entertaining, but it does not hold a candle. Like you said, the scene with Danny Glick, you can't remake that scene. You can never remake that scene. And make it as scary as it was after you watched it. So it was okay. It was okay. I'm not going to say don't watch it. Watch it. It's only 2 hours long on it. And that's probably a mistake. Well, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Heather.
So the 79 miniseries, it just really grasps a hold of that isolation of a small town and how vulnerable humanity is to the supernatural. And it does so in such an understated way that it just works so well. And that's the thing is the restraint from the use of gore and the in-your-face horror. It just really create that creepy factors that we remember in our core years later. Because it's been what, like 40 years since that movie came out. And then with the new one, I think that it shares the same heart, that it's coming from the same place, but it's just today's horror is psychological horror. And, it really just it's just a modern take on it, I guess. It's kind of what y'all were saying about The Crow, is that we're seeing a modern interpretation of it. And by no means was it a sucky remake. I enjoyed it. It scared me. There was a couple of jump scares in it. It really did have that creep factor, but it was more like that 30 Days of Night creep factor. That's what
I didn't get that from it. I really didn't.
It's like when they're up on the rooftops.
That was good. Those two scenes I really liked. Well, there's actually three scenes when they go to the teacher's house and they go, it's like, do you think he's here? No. How do you know? Because the vampires on the roof. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Those things are good.
Little things like that just kind of upped it for me. But there's nothing like, and we've talked about it before, that less is more when it comes to these movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about seeing the demon. It's about your face. It's about not seeing it.
Well, I got to tell you, Barlow looked like a wax candle. It melted on his head. That's what I mean. It was scary looking, but it kind of looked weird.
And I'm going to throw something totally from left field at y'all. Do y'all remember that movie? There's a mini series called The Strain.
Yeah.
The first season of it really made me think of like the Salem's Lot lore.
Yeah. I can see that. That was a good series till the last.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got weird, but it was really good in the beginning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was very interesting. And that's the thing, even with these movies, I want to know more about Barlow. What's his name?
Straker?
Yeah, I want to know more about him.
Oh, that was the guy from Game of Thrones.
Do what?
The pirate. Straker was the guy from Game of Thrones. He was the pirate.
Mm-hmm. He killed the dragon.
Yeah.
But no, that has nothing to do with their backstory. But I do want to know their backstory. I want to know more about how they met. And,
Well, I thought he was wasted in that role because his role really didn't do much.
No, and he got taken out kind of like a sissy too.
Yeah.
He beat him with a poker, didn't he? Didn't he like smack him in the head with a poker and then take him down?
Yeah.
Like, not the best death for the the vampire suck up.
And then they believed in the vampires real quick. They accepted it real quick. Ben Mears was like, oh yeah, okay. And so the gal, I forgot the real estate girl. They accepted the existence of vampires really quick, and they really didn't see anything that was real. Like a vampire going they hadn't really seen anything like that yet. So that was kind of like, I'd be a little skeptical if they came up to me and with what they had, and I wouldn't have jumped on the bandwagon right away like they did.
Well, they had to jump on it quickly. They wasted so much time with useless character development.
Yeah, what we didn't see, Alan, was they were starting to believe like 3 days before. They just didn't show us.
Okay, that's good.
5 stars now.
So, what's the verdict?
I'll give this one a 3. I'm going to give this one a 3.5. Because I liked several of the scenes. I think I might watch it again just to get a better feel for it. And I know you guys didn't like the vampire, but I thought he was cool. I thought he was well done when he was talking to the priest. Are you? Yeah, I like that. I'll give it 3.5.
Abby?
I think I'm going to give it a 3.75.
Wow.
I like the little boy. Like I said, I was scared a couple of times. It did not compare to the fear from the first one.
Mhm.
But it was a good little horror show.
What about you,
It would have been a better series, I think. I think they could have really fun with it as a series, but I enjoyed the fact that it was just 2 hours of my time.
That's right.
The best actor was the little boy. I'm giving it a 2. The only scenes I liked was when it started to hit, the shit started to hit the fan about an hour into it. The end, you knew you were getting to the end. The climax was long, was exciting. I enjoyed that. But I still can't get over the fact that the vampires were stupid enough to put their coffins outdoors in an open field. So,
I'll guess one at 3.5, 3.5. It's kind of a fun movie in a way, but like you said, the character development was not there. But it's for a vampire movie like that. I think it's pretty decent. It's no Salem, Vermont.
no. And what are we giving the original?
Chef's Kiss.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a 5.
I'll give it a 5.
It's
Just scared the crap
such
out
a
of me.
good film.
I'll do the
4.7.
drum roll again.
There we go. So it's funny how both the remakes. Well, no, I guess it's not funny because lately that's how it is. The remakes suck, and not suck, but they're not up to par. Some do suck, but they're not up to par with the original.
Let me check and see how much Salem's Lot made.
The original?
I think
No. The new one.
Scott. I think it was released directly to Max.
Oh, you're
They were
right.
they're gonna do it. Yeah, they're gonna do it.
You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, Hadley brought up a good point. They remake the movies for this time. I would be interested in knowing what's the appeal of those movies to the current audience, because they don't appeal to us, our generation. Huh?
Ask your class.
Unless it's on the cell phone, most of my students wouldn't know a thing about it. The few girls in the class that love horror, they love the Terrifier series. They love the Saw movies. So,
Well, that could be what the problem is that it's just a different type of movie that's popular now.
Yeah, I don't know, but
So, do y'all want to go into the next segment of who won your giveaway stuff?
yeah. So there's going to be two slots open. November 22nd is that what it said? November 22nd, Hadley, or is that?
November 21st and December 12th.
So we haven't picked for the December one yet, but we picked for the November, and she is not here, right? I don't see her comment.
No, but we can still announce.
The winner is Scott. Tell it. The winner is.
I don't remember.
Maybe you should have a whiskey.
Right?
I haven't had the whiskey yet. That's the sad thing.
Boss, you want to steal it?
Well, I believe that the November 11th no, 21st is Landa.
Correct.
And I
Correct.
believe y'all told me that the second, which would be the December date, is going to be Doc.
Dun-dun. Doc, you won.
And then,
Landa and Doc, congrats.
Congratulations, ladies.
Now, if you
congratulations.
called in, but you haven't, there's still time to turn in for Bethany's Blondes Books and Campfire Tales contest, and I believe there's one for Weird Awakenings tomorrow night. So be sure to play their games.
Yeah. So Landa and Doc, we're going to be in the hot seat.
Awesome.
And then, so November, tomorrow is a new month. So what do we have planned for November?
What's going on next week?
To be announced, huh?
Yeah, I don't
Later
think we
meeting.
know yet.
So did we ever decide what series we're doing?
No.
No.
Uh,
We talked about Lioness.
we
Yes,
can
the
lie.
new season of Lioness started last Sunday, and there are 2 episodes that were released. This will be season 2 for that, which we did season 1 already.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
And also Tulsa King season 2, but I don't think Scott watched season 1.
I have
No.
not. And I'm not going to get a chance to for a while.
If you guys haven't watched the new show on Netflix, Territory, I highly recommend it.
Oh, man, this is a great cast.
It does.
I
It
gotta watch
was
it.
actually quite good.
I binge
Okay.
watched it.
Me too. It took me, I think, like 2.5 days to watch it. 2.5 evenings to watch
Alan, it's not nearly as good as Yellowstone.
One movie that is on Amazon Prime for free. It's a new one with Kate Beckinsale. It's called Black Canary.
Is that good?
It's okay. I mean, it's not going to be one that everybody's going to watch 20 or 30 times, but it's good. And it's got some interesting plot twists in it. We might want to consider Silo 2. Thank you, Craig. What preview? What streaming service is
It's
Silo
on
2?
Apple TV.
Okay.
Well, I watched last night. I watched Apocalypse Z on Amazon Prime. It's free.
Mhm.
It is a new release. It is a survival zombie movie, and if you're into that sort of thing, watch it. It's a Spanish movie, but it's dubbed, so it was easy for me to watch and follow. It's about a guy and his cat. It was pretty cool.
I started watching it tonight, and I watched it up until like 9:15, and I got to the point where they just get out of. Well, I won't say what happened, but it was. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. There were some tense scenes. The zombies are fast, so it's pretty good. Bloody, they scream. It's pretty nifty. But I also watched another one. I think last week, and it was called Outside. And that one, just stay away. It's so 5 minutes in, it has one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a zombie movie. And after that, there's one other good scene. But getting to that other good scene, it's like an hour and 40 minutes. This is like a 2 hour and 10-minute movie. And you literally only need to watch 15 minutes of this. And of that 15 minutes, it's like 10 minutes of it is terrifying. But the zombies talk. Actually, they're like it's well done. But the movie itself is just terrible. The zombies are well done. I'm sorry, but the movie's it's just family angst for 2 hours. It's just,
Nice family angst.
Oh
That's
yeah,
awesome.
but it's not
love
good
that.
family angst. It's kind of like, oh my god. I fast forwarded through probably 70% of this film. It was just that, and I'm just like this, looking for zombies, and I was like, oh, there's a zombie. I'll back it up, and it was like a one-off 3-minute thing. I'm like, oh my god. So I went to the next thing. But yeah, it's called Outside. I think it's a Filipino movie. It wasn't for me.
So, isn't there a Korean movie with like some werewolves or something that we were trying to get a hold of?
Well,
We're on a bridge.
there's a movie called Werewolves with Frank Grillo coming out, right?
No, this was like Beast or something. Remember?
No.
Vaguely. Oh, a movie I did see that is worth watching, Blood and Snow.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. It's got a very heavy The Thing vibe to it.
Yeah.
And there's another one. It's 7 years old. I watched it. Happy Death Day.
Oh, that's great.
I loved that movie. That's
The
now
sequel.
one of my
The sequel.
I haven't seen the sequel yet, so I
Sequel's
wanted
not bad, Scott.
Yeah, everybody said it was good, but the end of Heaven Death Day blew me away.
Project
Yeah,
Silence.
Project what?
Silence. That was the movie that we
Oh.
were talking
Oh,
about.
okay.
Yesterday. They were
Oh, wait a
fine.
minute. Didn't we see that? Was it on a boat?
No, that I know what you're talking about. Where they're calling the prisoners.
Yeah, that was just awful.
That's a,
What was that movie?
I forgot the name of that
It was
movie.
a fake werewolf. It was
Project Silence is a disaster drama about people dealing with a dangerous bridge collapse where these creatures escape from a, like, I guess they're like genetically engineered creatures for warfare.
did talk about that.
They
Didn't we?
crash and they break them open on the bridge.
That sounds good though. That sounds good though.
It came out around June or July. We've been looking for it, or I've been looking for it.
Oh, I'm looking at a 4K trailer, and there's like this big spooky dog.
It's a spooky movie. So I watched Cato Lake. I enjoyed it.
Which one?
Cato Lake. It was a match.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
It's
That-
in Night Shyamalan. It was pretty
That's
good.
it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
oh.
Mhm.
It's weird, like a lot of his movies are. You should watch it, but it may be hard for some people to get through. I
It's
thought it was
a
okay.
Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was okay. It's another movie that I won't watch again, but it would be, if you're not paying attention, it would be easy to get lost watching this film. So just pay attention when you do watch it. It's Caddo Lake. That was it. That's what I had on Caddo Lake.
Okay.
All right. We've been 3 minutes. So, by the way, today is Wyrd Realities' 4th birthday. I'd like to personally thank each of you, one of y'all, for taking part in this crazy little thing that we do.
Well, thank you.
Y'all are awesome. Y'all make it fun.
Thank you for inviting me.
Craig, Doc, Tony, Tony K, Landa, all the wonderful people out there. And I know Mike Lewis is watching us from upstairs somewhere. And yeah, everybody out there just makes my day every Thursday. So, in case I don't tell y'all enough, I love y'all and y'all matter. And on that note, we're going to say Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.